Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. And today I'm going to recap the games that I played in June 2021. So if you're interested to see what hit the table at the Webb household, stay tuned. In June 2021, I was able to get in 52 gameplays, and that included 30 different games, 20 new games. So it was a big month for new games and a really good month for getting a lot of gameplays in. It was the first month of summer. We did a little bit of travel, so that cut into it a little bit and cut into some of my video making time, but it was still a good month for getting a lot of games in. So I'm going to start off with some of the games that weren't new to me, and we'll just go through them pretty quickly because most of them I've talked about before on previous videos. We'll just touch on each one briefly. So one shows up almost every month because we play it with our grandkids all the time. Valley of the Vikings by Haba. Our grandkids love playing it. It's a fun dexterity game, and the kids absolutely love it. So every month we're going to be playing that one. We only got it one time this month in June, but that was one of the ones that came back to the table. Another one we like to play with the grandkids a lot is King Domino, and I actually don't think we played this particular box game. We have the giant one with where the tiles are 3 or 4 times the size of the tiles in this one, and the grandkids like playing with that one. So we played King Domino once this month. It's a tile laying, area placement, or sort of making connections with those tiles to get large territories and gain points from that. So that's always a fun one. Next up on the list, we had our first actual game night at the house in quite some time, and we played Just One, a party game. We had several people over for the first time in June in a long time. And so it's fun to get Just One, where you're choosing a word randomly from a card that you don't know. You just say, I'm going to pick word number 3 on the list. Everyone else is giving you just one word clues, and then they all compare notes. If any of them are repeated, they get canceled out, and you're trying to guess that mystery word based on the only clues that remain. So a lot of fun. We don't usually play it for score, but just for fun. So Just One, we played that one night in our game night. Next up on the list is Azul by Next Move Games. And Azul is a tile placing pattern building game. We just played it one time. It's actually on our 9x9 list of games, 9 games we want to try to play 9 times this year. So clicked off another play of it this month and enjoyed that. Played it with 3 players this time. Really beautiful game and a lot of fun. And back to the table again in June. The last one that we played only one time in June, but it's one that we're trying to play at least once a month, and that's Pandemic Legacy Season 0. This is the one where you are changing the game based on your success rates each month, and you play through 12 months. We're currently in May, and we actually succeeded in May, so next time we get it to the table, we'll be doing June. We're trying to actually stay at least up with the months and haven't quite managed to do that since it is now July and we haven't played June yet, but hopefully in July we can get both June and July at least caught up. Pandemic Legacy Season 0, a great game that we're really enjoying, and got it to the table one time in June. All right, next up we're going to look at a few games that we were able to play multiple times. And this first one is Bang the Dice game. We also played this when we had those friends over on our game night. Played this a couple times that night, and none of them had ever played it, just my wife and I. So it was fun to teach them how to play the game. And you're playing your cards to shoot your gun, dodge the arrows, drink the beer, rolling the dice, pushing your luck, making sure you don't blow up the dynamite on yourself. Lots of fun. Bang the Dice game by D.V. Giochi. I'm not sure if that's exactly how you pronounce it, but that's a fun one. Enjoyed playing that one twice. Another one on our 9x9 list we were actually able to play twice this month as well, and that is Horrified. And Horrified is a game where you are trying to not really defend the town, I guess in some ways defend the town, protect the town, and protect the people in the town from these universal base monsters. And this one, it's, let's see, this one is by Prospero Hall. And we've been enjoying this game over and over. I think we're up to 7 or 8 plays. We're getting close to getting our 9 plays for the year end on Horrified. A lot of fun, cooperative game, and that one was one we played twice in June. The next one I was able to play a few times, twice just the base game, and we played it before, but played it twice again this month. And I played it a number of times, both solo and 2-player, and that is Architects of the West Kingdom by Garfield Games. And actually, you may want to check, I'll put a link here up top, but just recently did a 3x3x3 review video with Brandon and Lexi from AllAboard Gamer and talked at length about this one. Really fun game, worker placement, very unique style of worker placement. If you want to learn more, click on that link up above and you can watch the whole review with Brandon and Lexi as well. Played that one twice in June. Next up, another one that we played twice in June is Parks by Keymaster Games. Gorgeous game, kind of a worker placement-ish. There's a trail that changes every season and you're moving your worker and you're restricted in where you can move it. You can only move forward and you're gaining resources as you move and then using those resources to visit a park and gain that park card, which earns you victory points towards the end of the game. Really gorgeous game. Played it once, just my wife and I, and then played it. We went back to Indiana for a little visit this month and were able to teach several family members how to play that, and they really enjoyed it as well. So Parks was one we played twice in June. And next up, another one. This one I actually played this month online, but I do have the board game. Sometimes, though, I just don't have time to get the whole board game out, and I'm planning to play it solo, so I'll just get online and play it on Steam. And Lords of Waterdeep, Dungeons & Dragons-based game, a worker placement game where you are trying to build up your score by building buildings and accomplishing quests, and a lot of fun. The Steam implementation of it's really great, and got to play that one twice online this month. And then the last one that was a repeat for the month, or bringing it back, is Dominion. And I actually didn't play the board game, card game, box game version this month either, but played Steam version, which is a beta release right now on Steam, and played this one 4 times on Steam just to try it out, see if I liked that beta release. And I did actually enjoy it quite a bit. So Dominion, played that one online 4 times in June. So those are the games that we got back to the table this month of June 2021 and played a handful of times. Now I want to talk to you about a couple of games that were new to me that were completely new and only online. So I'll put some pictures and links down in the description. One is called Artifacts, and I'm actually going to be doing a review based on the TTS implementation soon. Going to be working online with the game creator, and I've already played it with the game creator online once, and going to try to get back online with him, learn the game a little bit better, do a review of that. It's coming up on Kickstarter August 17th, or at least that's the planned date right now, so about a month and a half away. A very unique game where you're building an artifact which is designed to then put into sort of an arena where you're battling against other people's constructed artifacts, and you're designing how they move and how they fire. A very clever game, not anything like what I've seen or played before, so be looking forward to doing that review with you soon. The other one that I played online is also coming to Kickstarter July 20th, and one I'm very excited about. It is Oros by Brant Brinkerhoff, and I got to play with Brant and also with Allison from Better Half Reviews, so that was fun. And it's an incredible game where the board game is actually changing its state constantly. It's a plate tectonics designed game where you're sliding the tiles around and volcanoes are erupting and new land masses are forming and the land masses are changing, and you're moving your workers around the board as the land masses change and trying to develop shrines and climb up to different levels. And as you do that, you're gaining wisdom points, I think they were called. I've only had a chance to play it that one time, but it is actually online still for play, and I'll put a link down below if you'd like to try that out on TTS. But the Kickstarter is coming up soon. Looking forward to that, July 20th, I believe. So that was another one that I played online, brand new to me. The next 3 games I also played online on Board Game Arena, BGA, with Daniel from Punchboard Party. It was fun to get together, and he taught me 3 games that I hadn't played before. And one was Abyss. It's a Bruno Cathala game where you are drafting cards and you're bidding on those cards as you draft. And you're also then trying to get set collection where you can develop allies and lords. And it's a fun game. The BGA implementation of it's pretty smooth and easy to learn. And so that was a new one for me. Got to play that once. Another one he taught me was Trek 12. And this one is one where it's a roll and write, and you're rolling the dice and trying to put the numbers on the trekking routes to climb up the alpine terrain. Nice kind of pattern building development as you go. Lots of fun. Played that once with him, and then ended up playing another 3 times solo, just exploring. And actually, I think we played it twice together, and then I played it 2 more times after that on my own. So fun game. And the last one you taught me was Lucky Numbers. And this is one where you're trying to get numbers in ascending order, left to right and top to bottom, and trying to do that better than the people you're playing against in this sort of bingo meets Sudoku style game. Nice game there on BGA as well. So those are 3 new ones playing digitally. The next 2 games new to me are actually just expansions that are new to me. The first one is the Cursed Horde expansion for Fantasy Realms by WizKids. And in this Cursed Horde expansion, it adds a few new groups of cards. The Outsiders, the Buildings, and the Undead, I believe, are the titles. And then it also adds some cursed cards. So there's kind of more cards, more groups of factions that you're trying to play with. But then the cursed item cards, most of them actually cause you to lose points in the end, but it gives you a benefit immediately in the play of the game. There are a few that actually give you kind of a disadvantage in the play of the game, but then an advantage at the end if you're able to achieve it. So those cursed cards add a whole new twist to the game, as well as getting those new groups built in. So that was a fun expansion. And the other expansion this month is Age of Artisans, making sure that I was able to play that a few times with the Architects of the West Kingdom so that I could do that review with AllAboard Gamer. And this expansion is a really nice one where you're adding on these artisans at the top, which allow you to gain tools and develop skills. And it helps actually kind of escalate the game a little bit and add just a little bit more depth without a whole lot more complexity. So a nice expansion, Age of Artisans for Architects of the West Kingdom by Garfield Games. So now let's talk about the other new games that I played, not in online form, that are, and also not games coming soon, but actual games that are currently available. And most of them I have here present. There's a few that I played with someone else's copy. But the first one up, just played yesterday, actually, from Haba, Rhino Hero Jr. And this is like Rhino Hero, but much more simplified for younger kids. And our grandkids that live with us are going on 2, going on 4, going on 6. And so those age groups couldn't really play Rhino Hero well. The older 2 like to play it and just stack. Actually played that with them today. But this is one that we could play with them and they could actually learn their numbers, practice their colors, practice some dexterity. So this is a fun one, a new one from Haba for us, and just played that one time yesterday. Another new one that my wife and I tried just one time so far, but we enjoyed it, and that is Fugitive. Fugitive is a game where one of you plays the fugitive, one of you plays the officer chasing the fugitive, and it's a card-playing game, and there's a hidden movement. You're trying to, as the detective, catch the fugitive before he reaches card 42, and then if you are the fugitive, you're trying to reach card 42 before the detective can figure out where you're hiding. So a nice little game. Plays pretty quick. We were able to just try that one time and looking forward to getting some more tries in the future. Next up, another game we just played once and just actually played this one yesterday, Groundhog Day. Now, we love the movie Groundhog Day, so this one is a fun kind of implementation in a cooperative way, kind of like The Mind, where you're putting numbers in ascending order without being able to talk through it. But all the cards have quotes from the movie, and you're trying to develop from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, where you're improving your skills by having to do them over and over and over again, day after day after day in the movie. In this case, you want to try to show in card form and in card order those early things that the character Phil learned early in the movie, and then advance them and advance them. You have to keep getting better and better, more and more complex as you move, and again, getting them also in ascending order. So it was a lot of fun. We actually were able to win, just played it 2-player. My wife and I were actually able to win our first time, but we did it on easy mode. So this was a fun one. Also has a little app for the timer that plays polka music in the background, so you can enjoy that as well as the timer's running down. The next one up, actually, there are 2 of them. I have one of them here, and then the other one is my son's copy, but we played a couple unlocked games, and this is from the Epic Adventures series, and we played the Dragon's 7 Tests. That's the one that we played out of this box. And again, it's a fun game where it's card-based, and you're trying to unlock a mystery, kind of like an exit room sort of game. The one thing that's nice about the unlock version of these exit room style games is that you don't destroy the game. So when we're done with these 3 mysteries, we could pass it on and let someone else try them. We enjoyed this one. It was pretty tough. It was supposed to be, I think, the middle difficulty level. We found it to be pretty challenging. The other one that we played, let's see, this one is from the Escape Adventures, called The Formula. And that's one that my son actually owns, and we played that one together. And that one wasn't as difficult for us. We were able to move through that one pretty smoothly, and scored pretty well on that one. Enjoyed both of them. I felt like the Formula one was much more scientific, logical, linear, and then the Dragon 7 Tests was, I don't know, it seemed a little bit more abstract, and you had to notice more things visually instead of more of a logic puzzle. So very different feel to those 2, but we did enjoy both of those unlocked games. One other game that we don't actually have in our own collection, but that we tried one time, and it was one that my sister-in-law brought to that family gathering in Indiana, and it is Taco Cat spelled backwards, a two-player game, pushing and pulling on this board that's inside the box. Really kind of clever little game. Only got to play it once, so don't have a lot of experience with it, but that was fun to try that one time in June. All right, then those are all games we just played once. Of course, for the unlocked games, you would only want to play them once. Now we're getting into some that I played a few more times, and one, a brand new game to me that just came this month, got it off of eBay, Xenoshift Onslaught. And this one is a game where you are being overwhelmed. You're on this planet, you're being overwhelmed by these monsters that are coming in, and you are recruiting different weapons and different people, and then with different weapons and different armor, and trying to survive this hive of invaders. And didn't win either time. Played this one twice, and was the first time I think I died in the second round, and the second time I died in the third round. Very difficult game, but one I really enjoyed. Enjoyed enough that I also picked up the Xenoshift Dreadmire, but haven't had a chance to play it yet. So let's see, we'll put this over here. And so that one's by Cool Mini or Not, and got to play that one twice. Next one up, Dragon Castle. And I've always enjoyed Mahjong, and this is another CMON game. And this one you use Mahjong tiles, and they're sort of stacked like they could be in Mahjong, but there's different game boards that you can adjust how they're stacked, and you can even make your own version if you want on one side of the game board. But you're taking those tiles off sort of Mahjong style, making sure they match exactly with a few rules of which ones you can take, and you're putting them on your personal player board in different patterns and trying to score points by getting large groups of the same color and also getting higher and higher stacks and putting shrine tops on top. We haven't played with either of the sort of variant expansions that are built into the box, and those give you different powers during the game and then different end-game scoring powers as well. We haven't tried either of those yet. We just played this twice so far, base game only without those extra add-ons. But this was a lot of fun, and also just once for fun, played with the grandkids and just had them stack the tiles according to the patterns, and it was sort of getting them to count and having fun recognizing the colors, and they just loved playing with the pieces. So sort of a third time got it to the table just for some fun with the grandkids. But Dragon Castle, really a fun game. Got to play that one twice. Another new one to our household, Skull King by Grandpa Beck's Games. And Skull King is one where it's a trick-taking game, and it's a pirate-themed game, and you have to bid for how many tricks you think you're going to take. And so it's kind of like Spades or Hearts, but on steroids. It's got, some extra things to it. Again, this one has all kinds of variants in it. It's the newest version, and there's different variants, different ways you can play the game. There's different expansion cards you can incorporate into the game. And we just played the base game, really, because it was our first two plays. Played it once, two-player, just my wife and I, to figure out how to play it, and then played an 8-player game with a bunch of family while we were back in Indiana, and enjoyed that process. It's a fun game. We had a good time. I do think that it plays better, in my opinion, only after 2 tries, but I do think it plays better with more people as opposed to the 2-player version. So Skull King, a lot of fun. Grandpa Beck's Games. Another one that we played twice that we don't actually own was Doctor Who Flux. And I've never played Flux before, but my sister-in-law had that game with her, and we played that one a couple times. I think we played 5-player both times. And I've never watched Doctor Who, so I didn't know anything about the theme. But Flux is one of those games where the game state itself is constantly fluxing. What you're trying to accomplish in terms of goals is fluxing. The way you play in terms of how many cards you draw and how many cards you play and the different functions and actions you can have are constantly in flux as well, hence the name of the game. It was a fun game. It's very chaotic, and so you have to go in embracing the chaos. And if you're willing to do that, it can be a lot of fun. We played Doctor Who Flux twice. All right, next up, Arboretum. This one actually won in a contest on the Nerd Shelves channel in one of their YouTube contests, so that was a lot of fun to receive this one and give it a shot. My wife and I have played this one twice, just 2-player. And in this one, you are laying out your Arboretum. You're putting trees out and trying to get them in ascending order, and even preferably having the tree styles match, but they don't have to. But you also have to keep cards in your hand, because at the end of the game, you only can score the ones in your tableau that you still have in your hand representation of. And then also it's kind of bidding in that sense at the end, because if, let's say, you want to score these purple trees, I have to have a purple tree card in my hand and its value, or I have to have even more than one in my hand, and its value has to be more than any purple cards the other players have in their hand. So at the end of the game, there was one time where I was trying to score maple trees, I think it was, and I laid down 5-point card of maple trees, but my wife had the 8. And so she was able to not allow me to score them, because even though she didn't really play them in her tableau, I have to outbid her in a sense with what I still have in my hand to be given the privilege of scoring them. So really pretty cards and kind of a thinky game. Plays pretty quick, and we enjoyed playing that one a couple times in June. These last 2 games we played 3 times apiece. Both of them really small games. This first one, Charte by Reiner Knizia, played this one 3 times. As I said, it's only consists of 9 tiles, and the 9 tiles just have part land and part sea on them. So here's the starting tile, and you can see it's literally, get the glare gone there, literally half water and half land. And one person is trying to get the largest consecutive land mass, and one person is trying to get the largest consecutive water stretch. And every turn you either lay one of these tiles out into a 3x3x3 grid, or you rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. And it's a 2-player game, so once both players have consecutively rotated, the next turn, that player has to place a new tile. So you can't just keep rotating. And then once that 9th tile gets placed, game ends, and you see who has the longest stretch, whether it's land or sea that's consecutive and attached. So very simple game. That's why we're able to play it 3 times just in one setting. It's like 30 minutes. We played 3 times and enjoyed it. It's a thinky game, trying to figure out when should I rotate and how should I place it to try to maximize. Oh, if they want to rotate, it's going to take them a couple rotations to get it away from being helpful for me. Lots of little strategy and thinky things about that one. Definitely enjoyed that one. The last game of the month that was new to us, Jishia Academy, a re-implementation of Hanamakoji. It's by Deep Water Games, and this one, I haven't played the original Hanamakoji, but this one is an interesting game where you've got 6 cards. In this version, they represent students, and you're trying to gain the favor of those students. 7 cards. I think there's 3 2s, 2 3s, a 4, and a 5 value card, and you're trying to gain the favor of those students by playing cards from your hand. There's a certain number of cards in the deck that match. There's, for each type of 2, there's 2 cards in the deck. For the types of 3, there's 3 cards in the deck, and 4 and 5. And so you always take one out, and neither player knows what card's out of the game. So there's a little bit of unknown missing information there, but you're trying to play your cards in such a way that you have the most cards beside each of those different 7 that are in the middle. And so if I have both cards for the orange 2, for instance, then I know I'm going to win the favor of that one. And then there's these nice little cardboard sword tokens. I can pull one out here. So these little sword tokens here, you put them on those central cards and slide them towards you or towards the other person to see who has the favor of that card. But every round you have 4 cards that show you what your moves are. And you only can do those 4 actions. You can't repeat them. You do each of those 4 actions exactly once every round. And so it's really strategic of, well, when should I play this? Because one is like, I'm going to save this card for later. One is I'm discarding these 2 cards out of my hand. And so I'm going to put 3 out, and they're going to pick one. I'm going to take 2. I'm going to put 2 sets of 2 out. They're going to take 1 set of 2. I'm going to take the other set. And so you're trying to strategically figure out how to lay those cards out, when to do those moves. And then when you finish the round, if anyone has won the favor of 4 out of those 7 in the center, they win the game automatically. Or if you have earned 11 or more points, because the 5-point card is worth 5, and then 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2. So if the ones you have the favor of, even if it's only 3 of them, add up to 11 points, you win for that as well. So a very unique game, card playing strategy game that we enjoyed quite a bit and played it 3 times in June. So that's what we played in June. And now, what were my favorites? Well, it was fun to get Parks back to the table, playing the one time with my wife, and then especially playing with some family members and introducing the game to them, teaching them how it plays. It's just a nice, calm, beautiful game. A little bit of player interaction, but not super aggressive. So yeah, that was a nice time to get that one back to the table a couple times. And then it's just always fun to get Pandemic Legacy Season 0 to the table and playing another month. Hopefully get a couple more months clicked off here in July. But my favorite new game of the month, Xenoshift Onslaught by Simon Games, or Cool Mini or Not, as they used to be known. An older game, but new to me, just picked it up this month. Really enjoy the challenge. I can see potentially it's so hard to win. That may get a little old over time, but the process of seeing, can I get a little bit better? How can I improve my rounds? I think I'm going to get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and picked up the Dreadmire version as well to hopefully just even expand the play for that one. So that was my favorite new game of June. So there you have it. That was the month of June, the games we played, both old and new, some online, most on the table. Hopefully that was informative and interesting for you to watch and listen to what we were enjoying and playing. Leave some comments down below if these games, if any of them are some of your favorites. Tell me which ones you really enjoy, or if you have questions about any of the games that I mentioned, leave those questions down below. I'd love to interact with you in the comments. And it'd be great if you'd click on that thumbs up button down below. If you did enjoy the video, give me a like for that. It'd be terrific if you'd subscribe to the channel as well. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy, Indiana, signing off.